Shot is standing by with a few of the victorious members of H2K.
Thank you very much, guys. What a fantastic performance. First of all, congratulations to Lulex and, of course, Hodawam there. Prolly, I'm going to start by asking you, how is it that your team put on 2 phenomenal victories this week, and why did they win as the coach?
That was luck, right? Yeah, I think everything was just kind of RNG. They really, in Champ Select, we tried to press random, but it just wasn't working. So we kind of, I pressed random in my brain and we picked the comp. And I kind of told them, I was like, well, if you see a champion, just go kill it. If there's a turret there, go get farm first and then take the turret. And they kind of did everything right. I don't know, they just don't listen to me ever.
Well, it seems to work off. The trolley Prolly giving the advice that his team needs. First of all, Lulex, again, congratulations, 2-0, 6-game winning streak. Yesterday in the hype video for Fnatic versus Origin, you said that, well, whoever wins might be the best in Europe, but they still have to play H2K. Number 1, you predicted the Fnatic victory. Number 2, you're playing them next week. How is that matchup going to play out, and who is the best team in Europe?
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. Like, the top 3 in Europe right now are us, Fnatic, and Origin. And Fnatic already defeated Origin, so their last challenge is going to be us for the first place. So, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to play against them.
I'm looking forward to the game myself. Again, congratulations on the win streak. Probably one last thought before we move on, and a little more serious this time. H2K finished 3rd in Spring Split. You're facing the current undefeated #1 team in Summer. How important is next week's game to you?
I'm actually really, really excited about next week. I think this week I prepared a lot, but I didn't prepare for this week. I was preparing this week for the next one coming up. So I'm actually really, really excited. I think maybe the players are listening to what I say in scrims, because they don't do it in scrims. So hopefully next week we'll be like completely prepared. And I think we have a couple of tricks that we're planning for Fnatic, because we haven't gotten to pull them out yet. So I really want to beat them.
Our secret plans. Guys, grab your gear, head off stage. Thank you so much for the interview. We're going to wrap this up over at the analyst desk once more.
Thank you so much, Quick Shot. Yeah, quite interesting there from Prolly. Started off a little bit trolly, but
secret tricks.
Secret tricks. Lulex didn't want to let the cards be shown just yet, but I feel like Prolly is really eager to show that his team is the best in Europe.
Of course, I mean, H2K now for so long has been performing so well back in Spring Split. Suddenly they became better and better and better. We didn't want to put them as #1. We don't want to put them as #1 yet either before they beat Fnatic. So I understand as a coach why you really want to go in here and show you are the best team.
Yeah, and just once again, a methodical game from them. A couple of numbers. They had the largest gold lead in the split so far, 2.9K at 10 minutes, and they owned the entire top 3 of biggest, largest lead at 10 minutes, because you said in the beginning they weren't that strong in that very early phase, but hey, the numbers are right.
All right, let's correct that one. It's not that they're not strong in the early phase, it's when they face a team like Fnatic. In the past, they've been losing in the laning phase. When they play against every other team in Europe, they're more than fine.
Well,
I'm just looking back at the games they have lost so far. Remember Origin?
Yep.
Week 1?
I
week
do.
2. One of the weeks.
We'll see. Time will tell. But Cyanide overall, just methodical early game from H2K once again.
It seemed to be the story of the game, like Giants just trying to go for those big waves that you obviously need to get, and they just get intercepted every time by H2K and get killed. And I really have nothing more to say. After that, the lead was just so huge. They just take the turrets down one by one and push for the win.
And Giants really didn't do themselves any favors in the pick and ban phase. I mean, I'm not really sure what they were trying to build. Normally, if you have like Echo Vayne and you want to split push with 2 targets, you need like wave clear in the mid lane. You have an Ezreal with like 45-50 seconds on your ulti. That's about it. There's like no real pressure from Giants at any point of the game. They gave so many strong picks over. Alistar as well. I mean, yeah, I know you take away the Thresh, but then you got to ban the Alistar.
Yeah, I actually really like the Vayne in theory, because they are facing a lot of tanks, and if you play Vayne well, and when you have Quicksilver Sass and or Banshee, you can, I think, 1-on-1 Fizz. So I really like that pick, but then you had an Ezreal already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of ruined it.
And that's the thing, like you have Vayne, which let's say in step 10 is going to be great, but how do you get up there? I mean, there are 9 steps on the way through the early game where you're just so far behind. We even have a replay, and this is something I love to talk about, is Sivir as a champion. Fantastic. Then pair it with an Alistar. What happens is you have now ability to fast push waves, and in the early game it means you can so easily coordinate dives on the enemy towers, because again, you have an Alistar, one of the greatest supports in the game, at setting up these ones. This is just beautiful play, obviously, from Kiseng, stopping that Lantern. But look how H2K already moving down as soon as the wave hits the tower. the Vayne has no way of pushing it back out. So it's super risky to say that they do it one more time. Once again, it's the Sivir pushing into the tower. Then we have Lulex coming, we have Kasing coming on the Alistar. And H2K keep setting up these plays that can look risky on paper, but because they have the right champions to do it, they have the right vision down, they can always go for these dives here, and that's a yes, not a no. What do you think, Cyanide?
Yeah, I think even here, like, it's very instrumental that the Fizz moves before the Ezreal. Ezreal completely, like, fails the ult. And I think if Ezreal came here before the Fizz, still a while though, then it might have ended a bit differently. There goes the nice ult.
But it's just these small fights here and small advantages H2K keep getting in the early game because they're just that one step ahead of everyone else. And as soon as you get past the point where the outer turrets go down, they just know exactly what to do, how to set up the proper vision, which objectives to bait, and how to use the certain power spikes they have. And therefore it looks so snowbally when they play. And therefore they just have to get past that laning phase, and then they're golden. Fantastic team.
Yeah, fantastic play overall. Just one last thing about the Giants, because coming into this week, we of course said it's going to be their big test. What are they going to do versus Gambit versus H2K? Those were not very successful tests, but I feel like for them, everything they had is still there, and the matches coming up now, they should just try to find that back, because honestly, you can't take too much from this game when a team like H2K plays that well, maybe from yesterday's game, though.
Yeah, like, honestly, it just, they need to learn not to do greed for the big waves so much, and then you can just go bottom, and then it's like kind of a stalemate, you know, like they have 4 people top lane, you have 4 people bot lane, but at least they're not gonna all die.
Yeah, we will see what they do if they can recover the Giants up to next week. It's almost time to see if Fnatic can keep their win streak alive against the Copenhagen Wolves. With that matchup in mind, we'll hear what Soren thinks of the world of possibilities in patch 5.11.
Mid lane is like a huge mess right now. You can play whatever you want. People start playing Vladimir mid all the time. You can play Lulu still. You can, I think Faker said something like you can play whatever you want mid. I even believe he played Master Yi. Honestly, like, as long as you're comfortable on the champion and you think like you figured it out, the matchups and stuff, like you can play basically what you want to.